BINO Nation, what's good with everybody in the building? I need y'all to put the shields in the chat. Matter of fact, before you put the shields in the chat, I need y'all to let me know whether or not my sound is coming through clear. Is my sound coming through loud and clear? Press a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me clearly. Yeah. I need y'all to put the shields in the chat. Put the shields in the chat. Put the shields in the chat. We about to be lit up in here. Make sure you guys are hitting the like button as you come in. Make sure you hit the Cash App and support the show. Anybody that drops 100 or more will be a sponsor of the show.
That's that BINO energy.
Yeah, y'all already know what time it is, man. We gonna get straight to it. We ain't playing no games. We gotta talk about this foolishness. You feel me? So let's get to it.
Son, where'd you find this?
That boy good.
Tell him about the gun line, Bob.
I don't feel like you standing on business, nigga. I've been doing this for a long time.
And most importantly, we need you.
That's that BINO energy. She belongs to the street.
Spartans! What is your profession?
Yeah, we back in the building yet again. Y'all know what time it is.
You're now tuned in
You are now tuned into
To the realest show on YouTube with your host, the Angryman.
So, we got a lot to talk about early this morning. Not too early, but still early enough. I don't know if y'all remember or not. And by the way, those of you that see me post a live stream up that come sliding in here all late and shit. Look, we not doing no long intros no more. We not playing music at the beginning of the show. Y'all gonna keep sliding in here late and be like, damn, I missed it. Damn, I missed the intro. But I tell you what, I promise you this. I can promise you this. If you come in here after, you feel what I'm saying, after I done started the show, and I done already broke down what we gonna talk about and already made several valid points. I'm telling you right now, if you come in here late talking about so what's the topic? What we talking about? I'm gonna boot you up. I'm gonna boot you up out of here real quick. Real quick. I'm talking about so quick it'll make your head spin.
I've been doing it for a long time.
But yo, already off the rip, we need 10 to 20 people to hit the Cash App and support the shoe. We need 10 to 20 people to hit the Cash App and support the shoe. Pay like you weigh, you feel what I'm saying? Because we definitely need the support. We got to address some hypocrisy today. And some of y'all ain't going to agree with what I got to say, but I got to do it. I got to go in. Shout out to Kenyatta, says started off right. Salute. Appreciate you.
Here we go again. $100 boss up. Going down. Stack up and match up.
So yeah, we got some stuff that we definitely got to talk about, because I just happen to notice this, and I'm not even going to front. It's really disgusting to me. It's really disgusting. Now, y'all know how I do. I'm not no race baiting type nigga. Shout out to Dark Power. I'm not no race baiting type nigga. I don't try to race bait. I don't try to make everything about race. Even though I do discuss race, even though I do discuss black and white folk, I don't really try to make every issue about race, right? Y'all know me. Y'all know I don't get down like that. However, when I do see some shit that is racist, that is legitimately racist, that is legitimately bullshit, I'm gonna call it out. I'm gonna call it out, like, for real. And whoever can be upset or whatever, I really don't give a crispity. You know what? Y'all already know. Shout out to Stan. He said, I got a little something. Thanks for the show. By the way, before we get into any of that, how do y'all like the new microphone? I had to get the new microphone. I had to get the freaking beacon mic to go along with the, in fact. So, by the way, Beacon, if y'all see me doing this, y'all need to holler at me. So I got the Beacon Create Mix. I guess that's what it's called. Yeah, Mix Create. The Beacon Mix Create. So I got that to replace my Go XLR, right? So I got that to replace it. And I figured I might as well get the microphone that goes with the shit. 2 tax write-offs that I will be writing off at the end of the year. What do y'all think? Does it sound good? Does it sound awesome? Let me know. I need to know. Because y'all know I've been having some sound issues. Everybody be coming in and, I snapped at some folks about the sound. It might have been the Go XLR tripping. I don't know. That might have been the issue. You feel me? And I bit some heads off. You feel what I'm saying? So I guess we good now. I don't know. I'm one of those people that when I buy something, I want it to last forever. I don't want to have to replace stuff. I don't want to have to buy new stuff. But then, when I really thought about it, I'm like, I use this shit every day. Like every day. Like I was using this bad boy every day for years. For years. Like I've been using this. I think I've been using this joint since I want to say 2019. I want to say 2019. I've been using this joint forever. I've been using it forever, So I guess, I guess it was time to change and get something new. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all know our one said, Angryman, you will definitely know when someone comes in trolling about the sound that it wasn't you, they just stupid. Yeah, well, is what it is. B. Baker said it's crispy. Brenda P. said very clear. Stan said it sound crispy as usual. Tree said, yes, love it. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure that everything sounds right, everything's working right. What can I say? I upgrade shit for the viewing experience so that you guys actually will find pleasure in watching the show. You feel what I'm saying? But El Indo, the Indian, said it's got Badussi on it. You've been using it so long. That sounds like what do y'all think, BINO Nation? That sounds like an insult. Thank you. I was going to wait and see if any of y'all was going to boot him up out of here. If you booted him, cool. Let's get it. But, like I said, man, we got a lot to talk about. Hunter Biden did an interview. And look, he didn't just do an interview. He did a hell of an interview. And when I say hell of an interview, I don't even mean like a good interview. I mean like there's so much that we can extrapolate from this interview. There's so much that we can just pull from this interview. It was dropped a couple of days ago. It's already almost at 2 million views. And let me say, he is doing irreparable damage to the Democratic Party. I mean, irreparable damage. Now, I will say this. Whatever rehab facility he's in, let's pull it up on the screen. Whatever rehab facility he's in, it looks absolutely lovely. It just looks serene and peaceful out there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he got his little energy bracelet on and shit. He's just living it up. He's living the dream. You feel me? But I want to review it. I want to review the interview. But before we review the interview, do y'all remember a couple of weeks ago when the P. Diddy verdict came down? I did a video talking about how I was kind of glad that the verdict went the way it went. Not for the sake of P. Diddy, forget him, he's a piece of shit. But just for the sake of men everywhere that they're going to try to railroad, using the precedent from his case and you know, all of that foolishness, right? And I did a live stream. I think it was late night. I was sitting on the patio and I was reacting to Megyn Kelly. Because if you remember, Megyn Kelly, she did she did her little reaction and she was like, "Oh, he's a scumbag. He's a piece of crap." And in fact, just in case you forgot, let me see if I can pull up the video. And play the sound, because you know, when it comes to YouTubers, you feel what I'm saying? Like, sometimes they be tripping about their stuff. So what we'll do is we'll just play the sound. We won't show it. Let's see. Megyn Kelly, P. Diddy. Okay, so here's the video that I was talking about that I reacted to.
Surprise you. Combs's body language is totally different from yesterday when he seemed crestfallen and grim after the jury said it had reached a verdict on 4 of the 5 counts. Now, acquitted of the most serious charges, Mr. Combs appears energetic and relieved. Can we just talk about, here's the picture, here's the sketch artist's picture of Combs yesterday, of the grimness, and I'm sure we'll get one today of him looking much more relieved. I'm so confused about, here's a little bit more, New York Times, with a touch of levity. The judge said he assumed Combs would not want to return to the Brooklyn jail where he has been held. Combs shook his head vigorously and put his hands together in prayer. Oh, it's all just so chummy inside the courtroom for this disgusting pervert female abuser who I can't believe is about to roam our streets again. I'm sorry, I'm disgusted by this verdict. This is fucking ridiculous. I just find it absolutely outrageous, the amount of crime that this guy just got away with. I believe he committed arson. He definitely battered Cassie. He battered Jane, too. The statute of limitations for battery in Los Angeles, California, is 1 year. 1 year. So if they didn't charge him for battery within 1 year, and they couldn't because he bought the tape and it remained hidden thanks to those security guards out there, then they could never charge him with that again. There's no question. He dragged her back into that hotel room. Why wasn't that kidnapping? They only talked.
Now, if you remember, I did a reaction video to that. And in that reaction video, I said, it really feel like her racism was peeking out. It really, and y'all know I'm not one to run around here accusing everybody of being racist, but I'd be lying if I said that did not feel like racism. Like it felt like, you know, it felt like white woman tears. Like it felt like, oh, you know, this disgusting black man. Like it's almost like she wanted to call him a nigga, but just couldn't do it. Like it that's what it really felt like. That's what it really felt like. And there were people in my chat that were saying, nah, Angryman, I think it was just her feminism peeking out. I think it was just feminism, you know, she just doesn't like men, right? Okay, well, fair enough. Fair enough. And I told everybody, I said, is that what's going on? Am I mistaking her feminism for racism? Well, if that's the case, I'm going to play this clip that she just put out. When did she put this out?
Comfortably smug.
She just put this out yesterday. And this is her reacting to Hunter Biden's interview, the interview that we're going to watch, right? This is Megyn Kelly reacting to Hunter Biden's interview that we're going to watch in a second. Listen to what she has to say.
Comfortably Smug of Ruthless, such a great guy. He tweeted the following, and he's not wrong. Hunter Biden is the Joe Rogan of the left. I wonder if they will realize it. Put Hunter in front of a mic. That's how you save the Democrat Party.
Kind of true.
He's joking, but he was highly entertaining. I mean, a little misguided on pointing the finger at others, many others for doing things that he himself has done exactly and times 10. But fine, it was very entertaining to see him break out the machine gun, the rhetorical machine gun, and go after every prominent Democrat who's been in the news lately. Maybe we have that SOT. Let's see. I don't know. SOT 12. Let's start with SOT 12.
Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him and everybody around him. I don't have to be fucking nice. Number
Trump,
one, I agree with Quentin Tarantino.
Now, keep in mind, this is Hunter going in on the Democratic Party. I'm telling you, this interview is wild. He used the F-bomb so many times. It's like, fuck everybody. Like, he was just going in. But I want you to listen to how Megyn Kelly talks about Hunter and his profane language and all of these things he's saying. He even says in the interview that crack is not as bad as alcohol. Like, I shit you not. And I want you to listen to what Megyn Kelly has to say.
You know, fucking George Clooney is not a fucking actor.
Sorry, Clooney.
He is a fucking, I don't know what he is. He's a brand. Fuck you. What do you have to do with fucking anything? Why do I have to fucking listen to you? Me and James Carville, who hasn't run a race in 40 fucking years, and David Axelrod, who had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama. And that was because of Barack Obama, not because of fucking David Axelrod. And David Plouffe, and all of these guys, and the Pod Save America guys, who were junior fucking speechwriters in, on Barack Obama's Senate staff, who have been dining out on the relationship with him for years, making millions of dollars. The Anita Dunns of the world, who's made $40, $50 million off the Democratic Party. They're all going to insert their judgment over a man who has figured out, unlike anybody else, how to get elected to the United States Senate over 7 times and how to garner more votes than any president that has ever run. What influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on the Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. You know, they did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab.
You feel like you might like him if you had dinner with him. You know, I like maybe just a drink.
You feel like you might like him, Megyn Kelly? A crack addict? Do y'all see it now? That little clip she did about P. Diddy, that wasn't feminism. It was racism. It was pure racism. Look, she not finished. Watch.
Like a short. Well, maybe he can't. Maybe if he did his crack, and you had your non-tequila drink, you could have an interesting conversation for 10 minutes. He's not wrong about anything he said there.
No, this is the thing. Like, there's something very serious in what Smug said, because right now, Jamie Harrison, former head of the DNC, his first guest on his new podcast was Hunter Biden, but it was a much different conversation than Hunter had with Callahan. And in this conversation, what you see is a man who he's completely wrong to frame himself as a victim of the political establishment. Like, that is absolutely laughable. It is true that Jake Tapper and others in the political establishment decided to aim their fire at Hunter Biden as soon as it was clear the Biden family was no longer going to be in a position of power. So yes, it's true that there was this big book by a major CNN anchor that was going after the family. Of course, it only happened after they were out of power. But what Hunter Biden is doing there is attacking the Democratic establishment. He is actually believably, even though he's wrong about like 90% of the stuff that just came out of his mouth, he's believable in his sentiments, and he comes across as like authentically angry. And by the way, he was spitting some facts about the Pod Save bros. Like, he was cooking. Those guys do live in their like Hollywood mansions and then tell the Democratic Party what it needs to do to regain the trust of voters based on their experience in Washington 10 plus years ago.
She's double talking. In one breath, she says he's 90-some% wrong about what he said, and then in almost the same sentence, she said he's spitting facts. Which one is it? Which one is it?
Go at this point. So he's not entirely wrong about that, but I think what the kernel of truth, I should say, in Smug's point is that what Jamie Harrison is never, ever, ever going to do is sincerely attack the political establishment. And that's why people like Joe Rogan, period.
God, that's so right. That's so right. So by the way, this other guy, Jamie, needs to understand that the first rule of news is when you make news, put out the news. Don't sit on the news. Don't wait months to release the news. You will get scooped on the news. So there is your news lesson of the day from a news person, Jamie. He had Hunter Biden long before this YouTuber, Callahan, had him. And he didn't put out the news. And the news was very interesting. It was Hunter Biden trying to tell us what actually happened between George Clooney and Joe Biden at that LA fundraiser. And it's a very different story than the one George Clooney and Jake Tapper have been telling us. Here it is.
George Clooney, before that event, and it literally threatened to pull out of the event. How many times? 5, 6 times, over and over again, saying that he was so upset because my dad refused to recognize the arrest warrant for Netanyahu and would not commit to not allowing Netanyahu to enter the country after the ICC warrant went out for his arrest. And the reason is that George Clooney, right? As if we were supposed to know this, is because his wife was one of the principal architects of that warrant. Anytime they're doing these pictures, as you know, there's somebody standing next to the president.
Mr. President.
That says, Mr. President.
Jamie Harrison, chair of
George Clooney.
Yes.
Right. Not because my dad didn't know who George Clooney, because I was literally whispering, I was whispering in his ear saying, Dad, fuck him. And he claims in his arrogance that my dad, the president of the United States, didn't know who the actor was. And to say something that is so patently untrue in order to justify what you did afterwards is cowardly, is weak.
Very interesting. He's saying that his dad, if you hear the longer clip, he's saying.
So here's my question, right? And it's a very simple question. Would Megyn Kelly be taking this seriously? Because she's hanging on every word that Hunter is saying as if he's a legitimate source of information. Would she feel this same way if this was a black person that's a drug addict? And keep in mind, I'm not trying to defend Hunter Biden in no way, shape, or form, and I'm not trying to defend anybody that's, a well-known drug addict, but would she really be, would the tone of her conversation be like this if this were a black person that was a drug addict? Because let's be honest, the moment that a lot of these white talking heads hear that the individual was a drug addict, they become the scum of the universe. Like, why are we listening to this disgusting person, this drug addict, this dope fiend? Because you remember that this was the entire reason they justified the knee on George Floyd's neck. He's a drug addict. He's a drug addict. Now, there's a lot of conservatives that also express that sentiment. I'm not one of them. I don't give a damn what type of drugs he was on. I don't care if he was on drugs. I don't care if he was high as a kite. I don't care if he was an alcoholic. I don't give a shit what he did. If you've already got this man in cuffs, what reason would your knee be on his neck? But people like Megyn Kelly and all of these white talking heads, the first thing that flies out of their mouth is, oh, well, he's a drug addict. He's the scum of the universe. He's a piece of you know, they want to say he's a piece of shit. They ain't gonna say that, but they want to say he's a piece of crap. You feel what I'm saying? Oh, he's a piece of crap and oh my God and all of that old bullshit, right? But here we have Hunter, who's a raging drug addict, who I guess is now in rehab. And she's sitting here talking about him like, oh, look, it's Hunter. You know, he seems like he'd be likable. You know, you let him do his crack and you know, you have a mimosa or a Chardonnay, and it's like you could have a lovely evening having a conversation with him. See, the funny thing is when you Negroes get up here on YouTube and social media and start screaming about racism and white privilege, you be looking in the wrong places. See, it annoys me when you try to call out racism or white privilege over some frivolous bullshit, some shit that don't even matter. When you got this type of shit going on. And I'm going to tell you why it is so egregious in this particular instance. It's egregious because, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Megyn Kelly a lawyer? Wasn't Megyn Kelly an officer of the court? Isn't Hunter Biden a known drug addict who has never done a single day in jail or prison? And he just also happens to be the son of the man who drafted the fucking 1994 crime bill that locked up countless fucking people in this goddamn country that we now recognize as one of the biggest problems of our society. Mass incarceration. See, if you ever want to look for racism, you don't have to look no further than Joe Biden's speech about locking up niggas when he was talking about being beyond the pale. And we need to get these people off the street. You don't have to look no further than that right there. You don't got to go combing through Trump's life to find racism. All you got to do is go back and look at Joe Biden's fucking career. You will find plenty of racism, and you don't got to be looking hard for white privilege. If you want to know where white privilege exists, it exists in whatever rehab center that is, and its name is Hunter Biden. And that's just real shit. That's just real shit. Like, folks can get mad. They can call me a race baiter. I don't care. I don't care if you call me a race baiter. I don't care if you call me a coon. I don't care if you call me Ungawa Black Power or a sellout. It don't make me no fucking difference, because for me, it ain't about race. It's about what's right. It's about what's right. I can't stand niggas that constantly play the victim card, but I also can't stand white folks that constantly pretend they're not racist when they really are. Like, stop pretending that you're not racist so you can get away with covert racism. Because the way you set your behind up there and talked about Hunter Biden like he was charming or some shit, knowing good and well if that was the black son of some freaking black political figure, he would have been all kinds of disgusting human beings because he was a damn crackhead. You would have went on an entire rant about how he's a criminal and he should be locked the hell up. But none of that came out of your mouth about Hunter. None of that. Anybody wants to go and look at the clip, go look at the clip. She didn't say not one word that came out of her mouth about Hunter was incendiary. Not one word was antagonistic. Not one word. And all I'm saying is if you are that disgusted by P. Diddy and his fucking actions, how the hell you ain't that disgusted by Hunter Biden? Anybody that knows anything about that laptop from hell, you know Hunter had his own freak offs. He had his own goofy shit going on that he didn't get prosecuted for, that he didn't get convicted for. So how is it in one breath you are so disgusted by Sean P. Diddy Combs, but in the other breath, you're just delighted by Hunter because he's talking bad about the Democrats? Oh, Hunter, he seems like he'd be likable. Sean said, what about your boy Trump? Somebody do me a favor, kick Sean the fuck out of my chat room. Bye. Get your bitch ass out of my chat room. I don't want to hear nothing about what about your boy Trump, because every single time you niggas accuse Trump of being a racist, I challenge you on it and you never come up here. Every time. Every time. I'll be like, oh, I tell you what, come on up here and tell me how he's a racist. You never come up here because you don't want that smoke. You don't want that smoke. We ain't talking about Trump. We're talking about Hunter fucking Biden. That's who we talking about. That's who we talking about. Rich Video said, have you met him? Have I met who? Have I met who? Have I met who? Have I met who? No, I haven't met Trump. Why would that be? Why would that be pertinent? Why would that be pertinent? Why would that be pertinent? Yo, shout out to Lowell. He said hot grease. I need to know. I need to know why we only got 4 contributors and we damn near an hour into the show. Shout out to Hayward. Appreciate you. Shout out to Arsenal. He said, did she have all that smoke for Harvey Weinstein, who preyed on multiple women? If she, I'm pretty sure she spoke on it, but I don't think she was that passionate about it. Shout out to Bishop J. Jermaine. He said, what up, pimpin'? Shout out to Fatty. Fatty said, good morning, AM. Check your email, please. I have checked it. I'm still debating on whether or not I'm actually going to come over there. I appreciate the invite, but lately I've been really reluctant to join panels. I think the other day I joined Lucky Marie's panel, which is the first panel that I've really been on in a long time. And it's nothing against you, Fatty. I'm just tired of the disrespect that I usually have to endure whenever I join a panel. It's never really the host. It's almost always the other people on the panel. It's like, oh, we got the Angryman over here. Here's our chance to take our shot at him. Here's our chance to be, disrespectful. And then, of course, you have the chat room and their ridiculousness. Shout out to Bishop J. Jermaine. Appreciate you. Shout out to Fatty. He said, I understand. Appreciate you. And like I said, I appreciate the invite. I was debating it and mulling it over in my head. You feel me? Shout out to Daryl. He said, AM, good examples on how she talked about GF versus HB. Who is GF? Who's GF? I don't know who GF is. Appreciate it. I don't know who GF is. I don't know who that is. But let's pull up this Hunter interview and see what he has to say.
I was drinking so much alcohol. Almost a handle of vodka a day. And alcohol is the most destructive drug, not just to your body, but it puts you in more danger than any other drug that I've ever experienced. And then you add on top of that the amount of...
Rich Video said no cigar. Let's pause for a second. Rich Videos, do you want my attention? Like, do you want my attention? Because you asking a lot of questions in the chat, and I don't see your name in a super chat. I don't see your name on a Cash App. Why the fuck? Why do you keep talking to me if you ain't gonna support my show? This is what I'm gonna start doing. I'm gonna start calling out all of you freeloading folks that come in here and just constantly want to talk to me, and you don't even support the show. Why are you constantly asking me a bunch of questions in the chat and you haven't even supported the show? Shout out to Willie M. Appreciate you. Shout out to Red Lipstick Vibe, said listening from the clouds. Appreciate you.
Crack that I was using at the time. And crack cocaine, in terms of your physical health, is not as dangerous as I was drinking so much alcohol, almost a handle of vodka a day. And alcohol is the most destructive drug, not just to your body, but it puts you in more danger than any other drug that I've ever experienced. And then you add on top of that the amount of crack that I was using at the time. And crack cocaine, in terms of your physical health, is not as dangerous as the situation that you put.
Now, hold on one second. So before Rich Videos got sniped, he just got sniped, right? Before he got sniped, this is what he said, y'all. He said, it's 2 questions, LOL. You good, a subscriber is support. He said a subscriber is support. Rich Videos. I have 800 and was 805. Now it's 806. I have 806,000 subscribers. But you know what I don't have? $806,000. I want you to let that sink in for a second. Because I know you're still watching, even though you got booted. I know you're still watching. I want you to let that sink in for a second. If every subscriber I had contributed $1 every day, I would make almost $1 million every single day. But you just come in here and tell me that you being a subscriber is support. The problem is there's a bunch of you that think that's all you got to do is hit the subscribe button. So much so that most of you don't even click the damn bell. You don't even click the notification shit. So you got to forgive me, Rich Videos, when you make a statement like that and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you're talking about. Because money talks and bullshit walks. Sage Talk said that promo for crack by Hunter Biden was crazy. Oh my God. What, bruh? Shout out to Martin. He said, right, speak on it. If they have gave you $2 a year, you'd be a millionaire. Yep. If every subscriber that I had just gave me $2 once out of the entire year, I'd have $1.6 million. But he gonna bring his ass up in here talking about subscriber is support. Okay. Shout out to A. Appreciate you, fam. Shout out to my man Aaron in the building. Aaron said, remember what MAGA did to Trump in 16. Remember what Megan did to Trump in 16. Her and Michelle Obama are the mall bitch chameleons you wanted to say. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Shout out to Anthony. He says support. So let's play this video. And at the very beginning, I keep rewinding it. Because at the very beginning, this dude is like basically saying that crack is not as bad as alcohol. Shout out to Abba's Child. And look at the first part of the video. Now I ain't gotta say what he's doing. You know what he's doing right there. That's a digital scale. You know what he's doing. But this was Megyn Kelly just a second ago talking about him like he was pleasant. Could you imagine? Could you imagine how many people, could you imagine how many talking heads would be on the news right now going in if this was, if Barack Obama had a son, a black son, and he was a train wreck like Hunter Biden? Could you imagine what would be said?
Is not as dangerous as the situation that you put yourself in to be able to obtain it.
How do you get crack?
One of the things I don't want to do is give a how-to to any moron like myself that may think that it's a good idea. But crack cocaine is I am fully aware when I'm talking about it in relationship to my own experience with it. It is still a shocking thing for most people, because we have been fed this perception of crack cocaine. It's more than just a drug. It's more than, like, if you say meth or if you say heroin or if you say cocaine. It comes with a whole bunch of different baggage. And because of that, places that you can go get it are some of the most dangerous places in whatever location you happen to be in. And it's everywhere. Mainly for that reason, I learned how to make my own. Have you read, I'm gonna pretend like you're not.
What the hell? What in the holy Oh my God. Yo, shout out to Mr. Lone Star. Said he said that about crack to lessen the blow on what his father did with the crime bill. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's exactly why he's trying to do it. You feel me?
Not getting attacked by a bee right now.
Hey, it's all right.
Keep my train of thought.
Without them, we...
Oh, he was getting attacked by a bee? Because I didn't see the bee. Bro, when you don't see the bee and somebody's like,
would all...
Just trying to root, by the way, that's true too. Birds aren't real.
Fair use. Fair use.
But bees are.
He said birds aren't real, but bees are. He said birds aren't real, but bees are.
By the way, that's true too. Birds aren't real, but bees are.
I already see where this is going. I already see where this is going. I already see where this is going, bruh. Like, this man is about to take us on a journey, bruh. If you, look, let me tell you something. I don't know how many of you are from the hood. I don't know how many of you are from the hood, right? And I don't know how many of you have ever been regaled by the adventures of a crackhead. But let me tell you something. That journey, my friend, it's like the never-ending story. It's like a Harry Potter book. And what makes that journey so interesting is you don't even know if it's true or not. You don't know if it's true or if it's a lie. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if it's embellished. You don't know if, like, all of the events could have happened. And they could have happened not necessarily in the order that they're telling you the story. Like, but we're gonna fast forward because we're not trying to. All right, let's here. And by the way, we want to try to be fair use and all that good stuff. I'm hoping this guy isn't a prick. I'm hoping we can review this without it being an issue. You feel me? That is his channel. So if you guys want to check out, if you guys want to go and watch the podcast without me after the show, there's the channel right there. You feel what I'm saying? Fair use. I hope the guy doesn't have a problem with us reviewing the this interview.
We're not the right time. I'm an admirer of your work, and we have a mutual acquaintance. He didn't take me much to.
Shout out to Tootie Bug for upgrading her membership. Shout out to Ogoon Network coming soon said it's funny that the guy who sponsored the 94 crime bill that locked up blacks for crack, his own son is a crackhead. Can't make this shit up. Yeah, brother.
Agree to be really interested. I think the work that you've done is some of the most interesting commentary on the moment we're living in. The expanded moment that we seem to be continuing to live in of the from 2020 on. I hadn't seen much of the earlier work that you had done, but I do know that I at least appreciate the sincerity with which you approach everything that you do.
I appreciate it. You said 2020 on. Do you feel like that's the year the world kind of went crazy?
No. I think that's the year that we all kind of woke up to the realization that things are crazy. But no, I think that they've been going crazy for a while. And I don't know whether crazy is the right word. I think that I don't know how interested people are in my take on why I think the world is a little bit crazy right now.
Well, I think there's probably millions of people out there who just want to know how you're doing.
Personally, I'm great. I tell everybody.
Who wants to know? Nobody. What? You think there's millions of people out here that want to know how he's doing? I don't give a shit how he's doing. I'm trying to figure out why his ass ain't in prison. Like, how's he doing? I don't give a crispity fuck how he's doing. Why isn't he in prison? Why is he at some freaking rehab retreat in a freaking corduroy shirt instead of an orange jumpsuit and a cellmate named Bubba? That's what I want to know. Shout out to Stan. He said, I don't know, AM. This is starting to sound like a lineup for the mentally incompetent to stand trial card he just admitted to manufacturing. Yeah.
And Melissa gets kind of upset with me because it has been obviously a difficult time, the past 5 years have not, at least from any outsider's perspective, been fun. But for me, as a person in recovery, and being able to maintain that recovery through this and stay clean and sober throughout it, it's one thing I allow myself to take some pride in. And I know about my life is that I survived almost certain death. And I mean, I don't know if you read my book, but I'm pretty transparent about it. Having survived that hell kind of prepared me to be able to make it through kind of the public humiliation that, I don't know any other way to put it, that I've experienced over the past.
Public humiliation? You brought that on yourself. Shout out to Bishop J. Jabane said, this reminds me of that commercial of This Is Your Brain on Drugs.
Close to 5 years now, and it doesn't seem to stop, but I'm more grounded in who I am and what matters to me and what I'm grateful for on a daily basis than I've ever been in my life. And physically, I'm in a hell of a lot better shape than I was since my last drink or drug 6 years ago.
So it's been 6 years?
Yeah, just over 6 years.
When you say you almost died, can you kind of give us some more context?
I was a drinker, and at the end, my addiction had progressed so much that it was potentially deadly on a daily basis. The thing that was the most concerning and the most real about, facing death was in actuality the alcohol. Once you fall into that lifestyle, and I wouldn't call it a lifestyle because there's no life to it at all, you enter a completely different world in which you're living kind of completely outside of the bounds of any communal norms. I don't know. It's a scary place to be. And I met some of the most truly heroic, astounding, thoughtful, kind.
This is that I don't know why he put that, bro. Whatever your name is, like Andrew. I think his name is Andrew. Why did you put that in there? That just came out of nowhere. This is like a freaking, bro, that was disturbing. That was disturbing. That was extremely disturbing. Like Stanley Kubrick disturbing, bro. That was like a Clockwork Orange disturbing, bro. Why would you do that? You gotta warn people about shit like that, fam. You can't just spring crackhead eyes on people like this. You can't just pop that up there like bruh, like what? No, that's not right. Yo, shout out to my man Burnell in the building with the 100 spot sponsoring the show.
Here we go again. $100 boss up. Going down. Stack up and match up.
Yes, sir. He said, AM, that is the most sober Hunter Biden has been in an interview. Well, give him time. He's just getting started. Give him time. He's just cranking up. Shout out to Elijah, says supporting the show. Shout out to 423 Soldier, said, where is Joe Clark when you need him? Laugh my ass off. You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you?
I've been doing it for a long time.
Yo, shout out to Martin. He said, I apologize for being emotional. I'm triggered. That bullshit earlier about the subscribe button shows me how we just don't want to be free. 365 annual donation times 100K subscribers is 292 million. Yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. If you think I haven't done the math, if you think I haven't done the math, I've done the math numerous times. Like, numerous times. You feel me? Numerous times. Is what it is.
And people that I've ever met in my life that are living, lives of quiet desperation, not quiet,
Oh,
very
no,
loud
he
desperation.
didn't. No, he didn't. No, he did not just steal a manosphere talking point. Did y'all hear that? Holy crap. Did y'all hear that shit?
Astounding, thoughtful, kind people that I've ever met in my life that are living, lives of quiet desperation, not quiet, very loud desperation, but even in that, found space in their hearts for empathy and kindness. And I've met some of the most awful, predatory people that I've ever experienced in my life.
So you feel that the thralls of addiction do oftentimes swallow up very genuine, earnest people, but at the same time, that underbelly is home to a specific breed of evil as well?
One of the things that I've realized is that addiction is one of the most universal conditions. I don't know many people that have not been impacted by it in some way, whether it's addiction to drugs or addiction to behaviors. They have the same dilatory effect on not just you, but more importantly, on your immediate community, your family, and then it's...
Yo, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Watching the son of Joe Biden, who created the 94 crime bill with its mandatory minimums, that I know for a fact has locked up countless people for non-violent crimes. Watching the son of that man try to explain away his criminal activity as if we're supposed to humanize him and understand the plight of his drug addiction when his father was a champion for dehumanizing everybody else with their drug addiction. It's nasty work. This is, bruh, this is the most hypocritical shit I have ever seen in my life. It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. It's like watching it. It's like if the short mustache guy had a son, and and that son is basically telling everybody how we need to be more tolerant and peaceful. Like, it's, bro, this shit is crazy.
It spirals outward. And I don't know anybody that hasn't been impacted by drugs and alcohol in a really significant way, or at least a way in which it's created trauma in their own personal lives and the lives of those that they really love. And so while it's universal, it's something that we rarely talk about. And it's kind of the way in which we treat drug use, it's something that someone else is doing, and that someone else happens to be your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, yourself, your coworker, and it only becomes a problem when it becomes a problem for you.
Do you think that...
And see, there isn't a single soul that interviews him that's going to ask him that question. This is why I can't stand this shit, man. I cannot stand the phoniness of the world we live in. I cannot stand this fake shit, bruh. Why hasn't someone asked him? You know, your father waged a war on drugs. People that were drug dealers and drug users were locked up with mandatory minimums. How do you rationalize being a drug addict and never having to get locked up or face any consequences for that, while there are countless people, millions of people in this country that have had to face prosecution because of the crime bill that your father drafted. Nobody's going to ask him that question. Nobody's going to ask him that question. Shout out to Bishop J. Jermaine, said, you rocking that leg cross, Angryman? Man, hell no. He's another one sitting up there with his leg crossed like a woman. I guarantee you if somebody asked him that question, right? I guarantee you if somebody asked him that question, he would be stuttering and stammering.
You would have been treated differently by the media if your addiction was to an opiate or perhaps methamphetamine as opposed to crack, which kind of has a racialized context to it.
Well, maybe, I don't know. Because it depends upon what media you're talking about. Because I like, what is the media? You know, I think it was just an added bonus for them that they could say crack addict and everybody would go, oh my God, he's a monster. So I think for those that wanted to use it,
that's what they do to black folk. That's what they do to black folk. The moment they realize a black person is on crack, they're like, oh my God, he's a monster. He's a monster. Lock him up. Yo, shout out to New. He said, for peace. He said, peace, appreciate you, bro. He's a monster. Why is he free?
As a bludgeon, it's easier when you slap the word crack addict onto it. It made me a lot easier target for the Don Juniors of the world, you know, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, just because of their inherent kind of meanness about things. But I'm not a victim here. I was a crack addict. You know, I wrote about it. I was transparent about it. I wasn't naive to the idea that somehow that would be something that anyone or everyone would be able to fully comprehend and have empathy for. We're lacking empathy across the board, not just for Hunter Biden. But I guess I was a little bit surprised in terms of a lot of people in the press, whether it was the New York Times or the New York Post, kind of dismissed addiction as somehow unique to my family, or without taking into account what they were doing to other people that were looking to get clean and sober. One of the things about getting clean and sober, at least I found, I don't know what your experience in your life or with your friends or others, is one of the things that keeps us in the cycle of addiction is our guilt and our shame, is the lies we tell ourselves and the lies that we tell the people that we care about the most. And you get clean and you get sober, and what ends up happening is you still hold on to these secrets. Like, I smoke crack. I was a crack smoker. They know that I did cocaine, or they know that I was drinking, but they don't know that I was also an inveterate drug user. And so you keep that secret, and that guilt kind of boils up. And the only place that you can talk about it is in rooms full of virtual strangers, which is really helpful. But it isn't the...
This is crazy, bro. This is crazy. Like, the fact that he's able to be free and just talk about how he screwed up, but never had to face any consequences. Bro, that's just nasty work all the way around, fam. Like, it's so many people that have been locked up. Like, I'm talking about got serious time for being in possession of drugs, for selling drugs, for using drugs. Like, bruh, the fact that he can sit there with his leg crossed in a feminine way, you know, talking like, yeah, you know, I've grown as a person, and, you know, I have this deeper, profound understanding of addiction, and you know, the problem is we don't have enough empathy. And empathy. Are you serious, sir? Empathy. Unfreaking believable, fam. Sage Talk Media said, it seems to me that Joe Biden took revenge on black people for his son being on crack because he couldn't go at the CIA who created. That is interesting. That is interesting.
It doesn't release you from that awful feeling that I'm about to be found out, and that anxiety. And so then you get triggered. Your brain tells you to do the only thing that it's learned how to do, is that you need to save yourself. And the fastest way to save yourself is a drink or a drug. So you get caught in this loop. And the favor that they did for me is I don't have any more secrets. Now, not everything that's been said about me is true, but there are the things that most people would be very embarrassed about. I've been very open about. I spent more time on my hands and knees, picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine.
So he wasn't just a fiend, he was a fiend, bruh. Homie was a fiend. Like, he was one of those, like, sweet Jesus. He was, bro, he was one of those dudes. Jesus. Shout out to D-Rock then. He said, salute AMG. Shout out to my man, Cutie Exec. He said, Hunter, a.k.a. Charlie Sheen, Tiger Blood on the loose. On the loose. Oh my God.
Probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone, and so I don't get triggered in the same way. But the thing that's
not the Parmesan cheese.
embarrassing scares me is for people that look at the way that I'm treated in the media, whatever the hell the media is, and think, do I want to get honest? I mean, seems to me, if you look at that as a test case, better to keep some things unsaid. And I think that's really dangerous for people.
I have this horrible feeling here in my gut. I've got this horrible feeling. I think he's going to try to run for president. I think he's going to try to run for president. I think this, bro. I think, fam, I think this is him trying to show everybody, you know, I've overcome my addiction and blah, blah. Man, I'm going to tell you something right now. If he gets taken seriously as a presidential candidate, that is going to say so much. That is going to say so much. Look, Bryson said, AM, stop. Like, I'm not trolling y'all. I'm sitting here listening to him talk, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. His ass is going to try to run for president. Maybe not in 2028, but he's going to try to run. I got a feeling he's going to try to run. You feel what I'm saying? I really, bro, because I'm telling you, when Joe Biden was in office, incompetent shit, because everybody's still trying to figure out who was making decisions. Everybody's still trying to figure out who was using that auto pen, who was signing documents and shit, right? Now, look. Who was it? Who was it? There was a chick that was part of the Democrat Party. It was an Asian chick. Y'all remember? How many of y'all remember the Asian chick that was part of the Democrat Party that was doing interviews and stuff? Do y'all remember? because she was asked who was really running the show. And she brought up two names, if I remember correctly. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. She said Jill Biden and she said Hunter. How many of y'all remember that? Now, I don't know how true that is. I just know what she said in the interview. So, look, you got to think about it like this. If Joe Biden was incompetent and he had people around him trying to make decisions, if Hunter was one of them, why wouldn't he try to run for president? He'd probably feel like, well, shit, I could do this job. Bruh, I'm telling you right now. Yo, shout out to Big Dave, says, so you was on your hands and feet, huh, Hunter? Well, you know what else C-heads be in their knees for, don't you? Shout out to Miles. Miles said another example of how the white man's ice is always colder. Shout out to Time to Annie Up, said Hunter, the purveyor of Parmesan or President Parmesan. Yo, shout out to Kevin. He said, I said the same ish, not the Parmesan. It's disgusting, man. It is disgusting.
People, at least in my experience with recovery.
As far as the media goes, what do you think are the three craziest things you've heard about yourself in the press?
Oh my God, the list is forever and forever. They got stuck on for a while, even Fox News, that I funded the Wuhan lab. I said that to someone a long time ago on camera as in response to a question like you just asked. And you got to be really careful. Somebody's going to be able to cut that and say, I did not fund the Wuhan lab.
I did.
Yeah, you did? Yeah, exactly. Me and George Soros. Supposedly me and George Soros are have a lot in common. The one thing I'm positive we don't have in common is that I am very, very far from being a billionaire. But those conspiracies are kind of the craziest. You know, I just heard Jake Tapper is going on TV saying that, you know, I basically acted as the chief of staff.
I think Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way.
See, I told you. She wasn't the only one that was saying that shit, right? Shout out to Zero Fallout, said, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran. Democrats are in shambles. Yeah. Look, if Jeb Bush can throw his hat in the ring, you know damn well Hunter can throw his hat in there. Like, let's just be real.
He was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Does that strike you as pretty bizarre?
I think I spent 12 days in the White House in the last 2 years of the administration. I had a lot of other things going on. I think the one that was like you feel like you just got hit.
He said I spent 12 days in the White House over the past administration. I had a lot of other things going on. I bet you did. I bet you did have a whole lot of things going on, like standing outside the trap house 3 a.m. talking about some, come on, baby. Just give me one more, baby.
In the gut, you know, by an elephant, is when Rudy Giuliani and Bernie Kerik went to the new.
Come on, man. I swear, look, man, I'm about to look. I got 20 right now. But I got a homeboy that's coming through, and we spending with you all night, baby. We spending with you all night. Come on, man. Don't do me like that. Don't do me like that, young blood.
Castle County Courthouse here in Delaware, and talked about me being involved in, I think, you know, child sex crimes and stuff like that. And I mean, literally with nothing. That one was the last and the only one that was kind of hard to wake up from. Is like how do you ever take that out of somebody's head.
And I'm going to tell you the truth. Hunter does not strike me as the type of fiend that, like, okay, so you got some white fiends, they be low key with it, right? You never know. Like, they be construction workers and mechanics and shit. But he strikes me as the type of fiend that'll show up in the middle of the night in the worst neighborhood, and niggas be looking at him like, you know where you at, white boy? And he come rolling up, talk about some, yeah, man, you know, I'm cool. Like, you be like, bruh, you ain't scared to be over here? Like, you don't give a shit. Oh my God.
They've heard it, you know. But I mean, truly, the list just goes on and on.
Did you try to like sue for defamation or damages or anything after that?
No, and I mean, I am in a defamation suit right now. I mean, one of the craziest ones is what Patrick Byrne said about me. And let me get this straight. He said that I was the key person in ensuring that the sanctioned Iranian oil money that was being held in South Korea was released at the behest of myself and somebody in Pakistan. And I took a 10% fee off the $8 billion for my family.
You did, Hunter. You just don't remember the shit, bro. You know how everybody, look, every family got that one person that they will, you know, they give them the mission because they crazy enough to do it and shit, right? Shout out to Gungu. He said anyone who was affected by the Biden crime bill should be able to sue the former administration. Facts. 100% fact. They need to come together with a class action lawsuit is what they need to do. Like, for real. They need to put together a class action lawsuit. You got folks talking about reparations. That's really something. Now, if you black folk talk about reparations, right? Now, I told you, I don't agree with reparations because it's problematic. Because slavery was so long ago, they didn't keep good records. You don't know who's who. You don't know whose forebearers were slaves and who wasn't. Then on top of that, you got the mixing and all of that stuff. But I tell you one thing that you can get. You can get reparations for that 94 crime bill. We know who got locked up behind that shit. You can get reparations for that. Like, for real. If you got locked up for a nonviolent offense, just being a drug addict or some shit like that, and they got Hunter Biden running around here free, you damn skippy, y'all should come with a class action lawsuit. Shout out to Bishop J. Jermaine, said Hunter is on that menace to society-ish. Yeah. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's look. Hunter is the son. Look, we ain't even gotta speculate about this. Hunter, we know who you are, bro. You're the son that was the fuck up that your pops felt was expendable. Like, has anybody else picked up on that yet? He's the son that Joe Biden felt was expendable. You feel me? Like, they put the backpack on him. Every time they get ready to do some shit, let's send Hunter. You know what I'm saying? Let's send Hunter to go do it. You feel me? Like, well, we got to go over there. We got to get the deal done with so-and-so. I don't know if I want to go over there. Shit, we can send Hunter. They call up Hunter and shit. Hunter be over there talking about some. Hello? Yeah, I'll do it, man. Yeah. Like, bruh, he's the fuck up. I guarantee you. They're like, yo, send Hunter to do it. Bryson said, have to support today's show. I think we all as men need to make a vow not to trust any cross-legged men. Facts. Never trust men that cross their legs. Ever. Ever. If you remember in The Godfather, Michael Corleone used to cross his legs. He killed his own brother. So let's be real. Let's be real.
Have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think.
And then I had traveled to Tehran and to the Middle East in 2022 and 2023 in order to effectuate this. And then that ultimately, his followers made the direct connection that that money was used to fund Hamas for the murder of over 1,400 Jews on October 7th. That's the kind of stuff. And now, I know you guys look and say, like, but who believes that? You know, I don't know. The million people that read that tweet, you know. I had one guy in California who is a, I don't remember his name, but he's associated with SpaceX, a big investor in SpaceX, a very, very wealthy guy, claim just months ago that that I rented a house from him and that I trashed the house and I had the Secret Service stiff him on the rent and that I tried to pay him with a book of art made of my own feces.
His ex-landlord claims he's...
Oh my God. Shout out to Iman. I told y'all. Didn't I tell y'all at the beginning of this shit? We're only 15 minutes in. This is a 3-hour interview. We're only 15 minutes in, bruh. What did I tell y'all at the beginning about a fiend? Bro, we are legit being taken on a journey, the likes of which you have never seen, bruh. And anybody that has ever had a conversation with a dope fiend, you know exactly what I'm talking about, bruh. And look, he's not high at the moment. Because if he was high on crack, he'd be quiet. He'd be mad quiet and shit. Or when he talk, his mouth would be doing that weird shit. And, you know, motherfuckers get that... they get that Muppet mouth.
stiffed him on a whopping $300,000 in rent. What happens to the back rent that Hunter Biden owes my family? Is that pardoned now?
And, you know, like, how insane is that, right? You know, but you look into the background of this person, and he's a major investor in SpaceX. He's probably worth a few $100 million, and he has this huge following on X. Elon Musk retweeted that, and it went, you know, and it went viral.
Wait, that's a huge following? Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. Wait a minute.
Trashed the house, and I had the Secret Service stiff him on the rent, and that I tried to pay him with a book of art made of my own feces.
His ex-landlord claims he stiffed him on a whopping $300,000 in rent. What happens to the back rent that Hunter Biden owes my family? Is that pardoned now?
And, you know, like, how insane is that, right? You know, but you look into the background of this person, and he's a major investor in SpaceX. He's probably worth a few $100 million, and he has this huge following on X.
That's 240,000 followers. Is that a large following? Somebody help me out. Is that a large following? 250. Why is my TV doing that? Why is my TV doing that? I didn't ask my TV to do that. And now I don't want to freaking respond. This is the goofy shit. I'm so sick of this TV behind me. I want to throw this shit in the trash. Shout out to Miles. Miles said Hunter monetizing his addiction is nasty work. You got that right. I want to throw this TV in the trash so bad. Shit is trash, bruh. Trash.
Elon Musk retweeted that, and it went, and it went viral.
It's pretty messed up, man. There's also some people, though, who just think that if you leave the country, you're a spy. You know what I mean? Like, why is he going so many places?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The really interesting thing is they created this a character that is both in some sense a ne'er-do-well fail son that has not ever accomplished anything, and a criminal mastermind all in one. I kind of feel like pick one. Most of my travel during that period of time when my dad was vice president, and by the way, I didn't travel anywhere when my dad was president. I don't think I left the country. But during that time, I was the chairman of the board of what's called the U.S.-UN World Food Program. And I was also chairman of the board of the Truman National Security Project, chairman of the board of the Center for National Policy. I was a professor at Georgetown University, adjunct professor for over...
I think he said he was a professor. This nigga said he was a professor, bro. He said he was a professor.
4 years in the master's program of the School of Foreign Service. I taught a course on advocacy, and largely based upon the implementation of a thing called PEPFAR, President's Emergency Plan for Aid Relief in Africa. And as the chairman of the board of the U.S.-UN World Food Program, it's kind of like what you know of, like, as a kid growing up, like UNICEF. UN has voluntary aid organizations in which each nation state that is a part of the UN voluntarily contributes to the continued operations of UNICEF, UNHCR, UNESCO. All of these organizations are all voluntary aid organizations. The UN World Food Program is the largest voluntary aid program in the United States.
So he was doing this in between smoking crack? Like, bro, so we're not supposed to believe that you're involved in nefarious activities because that's too complicated for you, but you're involved in all of this shit? Like, am I wrong for feeling like, okay, it's either cap or it ain't? If it's cap that you're involved in all these nefarious things, then it's also cap you're involved in all of this. Like, stop it.
And it is the largest humanitarian organization in the world. It serves over 80 million meals on a daily basis in 72 different countries, and it is the first on the ground.
Shout out to Tom to Annie up. He said, professor of what? Pharmacology? Exactly.
It controls all the airlift and communications for all of the relief efforts globally in any natural disaster or civil war or conflict. And so the UN, U.S., is responsible for about 65% of the budget of the World Food Program, which was my responsibility as chairman of the board. And I increased the budget of the World Food Program, which just won the Nobel Peace Prize 2 or 3 years ago, by 50% when I was chairman over my term, to like $2.4 billion. It's all gone now. Trump ended all of that. But point about traveling. So I went to the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan. I went to Kenya to Dadaab when refugees were flowing in from across southern Africa. And Ethiopia, I've been to...
I don't know who let you hold that baby while you was high. You could tell he was high in that photo.
Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, and I've been to all over the world. 75% of my travel during that period of time was on behalf of the World Food Program and other, NGOs that I worked on behalf of.
Okay, so number one, here's the problem, Hunter. It's already been exposed that the NGOs were a cover for other shit. So, in one breath, you basically said that them trying to say you were some criminal mastermind being sent all over the globe to do the bidding of your father was bullshit. But then right after that, you go into this whole spiel about how you've went all over the world, traveled the world, doing missionary work, I guess, or humanitarian work through NGOs and shit. Seriously? Like, you think we can't put that together? Do you think we don't know what the word cover story means or cover is? Do you think that? See, the funny thing about it is, this is what I would love to know. I would love to know if any of those rumors about you doing certain stuff for your father, if any of those incidents line up with your travels. In other words, the week you were in Bahrain or wherever doing humanitarian effort, were you also, is there also a rumor that you were there doing something nefarious too? That just happens to be around the same time? That's what I would love to see. I would love to see somebody do the research and see if all of that shit lines up. That's what I would like to see. Shout out to EB Getting It, said, for this man to have what was 3 laptops full of filth and to be doing this interview talking like this is crazy work alone. Yeah, bro. Absolutely. It's like he's admitting all of it. It's like he's sitting there admitting all of it. It's like, why is this dude not getting prosecuted? And look, some of y'all are going to say, but Angryman, come on, he ain't no criminal mastermind. We know he's not no criminal mastermind. Somebody else did the planning. He was just the dummy. He was the one they sent to go do the shit. It's like, hey, you go do this. Go over here and do this, or go over here and do that. Like, he's the one that he's a gopher. He's the one being sent to go do shit. He ain't the mastermind behind it. He's just the one they send.
So I want to back all the way up to the very, very beginning. A little short bio. We could do a long bio too. So you're born here in Delaware or born here in Pennsylvania?
In Delaware.
Okay, in Delaware.
Yeah, Wilmington.
Wilmington.
Yeah, 10 minutes from here, 15.
What are your thoughts on Wilmington, Delaware? Nice place?
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I still do love about the East Coast and Delaware and the Mid-Atlantic is the history. And so I'm a little bit of a history geek.
Yeah, because Delaware doesn't really get much representation. Because you got Philadelphia, powerhouse of history and culture. You got Rocky.
We're gonna try to
things going on there.
We're gonna try. I want to try to skip through some of this, but I'm afraid I'm gonna miss something like I did the other day when Obama said that wild shit. So we're gonna try to skip through some of this, and hopefully we don't miss anything.
Like, I had the same thing, and you realize that we are almost all universal in that way. Is the one thing that binds each and every one of us is not necessarily love. People can go through life without being loved. It's not the only experience that we will all have between the time we're born and then we die is pain. And being able to recognize pain is a thing that connects us all. Is a real gift, I think, at least. And given me a lot of strength when I needed it.
How do you feel that particular experience impacted you growing up?
I don't know. I think it's something that's a lifelong journey to be able to figure out what that kind of a trauma has on you. I don't know. I mean, I used to fight against the idea that it had anything to do with my addictive behavior. I don't fight about that as much anymore. It kind of makes sense to me in a way. I think that some of the genetics make sense to me in a way too. But in terms of that trauma and how I see it today, in the way that people responded, it's...
Hold on one second. John Ellison said you can't prosecute him. His daddy gave him preemptive pardons. Incorrect. Those pardons are no longer legitimate, if I'm not mistaken. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't those pardons get delegitimized, I guess the word would be, because of that whole auto pen shit? I don't think those pardons are gonna stand up. Am I wrong? Or y'all didn't hear anything in the news about that? Because I damn sure heard something in the news about that where they were saying that those pardons were not legitimate. Yeah. Yeah. Lauren said them pardons are no longer valid. If I'm not mistaken, those pardons are not valid anymore. Jerome said, I think they're still investigating. Yeah. Yeah. Said auto pen scandal revealed and all of them defendants pleaded the fifth. Look, I'm gonna tell you something right now. If anybody goes to jail for any of this foolishness during Trump's presidency, I'm gonna say he is single-handedly the greatest president that ever lived. If anybody gets prosecuted, because the way it always works is the Washington crowd, that bunch, they never get in trouble for nothing. They always walk free. They always get by. They always get by.
All about the love that I experienced during that time. I look back and I think of the way in which my family surrounded me. I was given the gift of having known and having two mothers that.
And by the way, do y'all remember? Do y'all remember when y'all remember when everybody started talking about the Supreme Court upholding that presidents have immunity from prosecution? Y'all remember that, right? Do y'all remember when everybody started losing their shit? Oh my God, the Supreme Court just upheld I've been telling everybody that presidents have immunity, right? Nobody wanted to listen to me, right? So the president's immunity was challenged with Donald Trump, and that's the whole reason why the Supreme Court had to, weigh in on that shit. So basically the Supreme Court just upheld that presidents in the commission of their presidential duty have immunity from prosecution, right? So the moment they said that, everybody's like, Donald Trump is going to use this as an excuse to do what he wants and blah, 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 blah. And they were so against it. The moment that Tulsi Gabbard comes out and says something about Obama and his administration was allegedly behind the Russia collusion hoax, every one of them people that was against presidential immunity jumped smooth out the window. Well, President Obama, he's immune. He's immune to prosecution. I'm like, really? Like, bruh, this. It's amazing.
I consider my mom, both of them, my birth mother and my mom now, and I feel incredibly lucky for that. Instead of thinking of it as some tragedy, I feel incredibly lucky that I had my aunts and uncles that literally moved in with us and I got the experience of having an extended family. My uncle is my best friend in the world, outside of my dad and my brother. And that, I don't know whether we would all be as close if it weren't for that. But you know, I mean, you come from a big Irish Catholic family. This isn't like, oh, woe is me. Yeah. You know, I mean, everybody's gone through this.
It was definitely a cultural.
Shout out to D-Rock then. He said, we all know whose coat was found in the White House. Can't SC it?
Kind of instinct to not allow ourselves to be defined by traumatic events and to take responsibility for the way that, you know, we've handled things that have happened.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, we all have to take responsibility, regardless of the reason. The consequences aren't always fair, but I think the biggest question is whether you use it as an excuse or do you use it as a catalyst to be more empathetic with other people and also yourself.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, and it sounds like the kind of double-edged sword you're talking about, or the flip side of the coin, is that even in the wake of tragedy allowed for your extended family, like your uncles and stuff, to become closer because they recognized that you needed like an extra layer of support. And so do you feel like without that happening, there wouldn't have been as strong of a bond within the family?
I don't know. I do know this, is that my family is just incredibly close-knit, but I can't imagine that, I mean, obviously, yeah, I think your relationships are forged by the circumstances, and the more dire and consequential the circumstance, and my brother, the rest of the family is.
Moderation, wow.
My family tree, and to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking.
Oh my God, this is like 3 hours of Hunter just babbling on and on and on and on and on.
To highlight the injustice that was occurring on reservations across the country. I think that we are in such a generation. How do you think that we attract the smartest people in the world to the United States of America? Through immigration. I mean, you sit here and, I mean, like, just think about it. You got some motherfucker who's made over, what, $251 billion being a United States citizen that got here and stayed here illegally before he got his citizenship, sitting here lecturing us on who we should allow into the United States of America and giving us a fucking Heil Hitler along the way. Are you fucking kidding me?
And talking about how gangs are like a threat that's going to...
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I can't. I just can't with these. Like, I can't take these motherfuckers seriously. I can't. Like, you want to know? You want to know the reason why it is extremely difficult for me to do the street conservative? Because I can't watch as someone just lies through their fucking teeth to everybody as if we're just so stupid we can't put shit together. Like that shit, like you got this asshole, a freaking crackhead, a dope fiend that should be in prison, right? Sitting up there talking about Elon Musk doing the whatchamacallit salute or whatever, right? I can show you countless pictures of Democrats doing the same shit. Anybody with an ounce, a modicum of intelligence knows that's not what the fuck he was doing. But you're going to sit your ass up there and tell that fucking lie the same way they sat up there and told the Russian collusion lie over and over again, or the very fine people on both sides I am fucking sick to my stomach of listening to you leftist Democrat fucking demons lying through your goddamn teeth every time you get on camera. If there was any justice in the world, every time you go to open your mouth and tell a lie, you would get hit by a bolt of lightning. This shit is annoying, bro. It is annoying. Like, he's a liar. His father is a liar. Their whole party is a party of liars. So all they do is sit around and lie through their teeth. How do you know when a Democrat is lying? Their mouth is moving. That's how you know. Like, yo, fam, I'm so sick of them. I'm so... I don't even think, I'm not even gonna watch the rest of this interview because I'm so freaking sick of them. I'm sick and tired of them, bro. I'm sick of them. I'm so sick of them because at the end of the day, they played a major role in the mass incarceration of Americans, specifically Black Americans. And for him to be sitting there talking about humanitarian efforts and empathy and Native Americans as if his father hasn't played a major role in destroying the lives of countless people. Like, that's the funniest thing in the world. Like, you're part of a party and you're the son of an individual that created legislation that decimated the Black community, but you're gonna sit your self-righteous ass up there and talk about the fucking humanitarian efforts that you do for people in other fucking countries? You piece of shit. Like, bruh, like, Lalitu said both sides do nothing but lie, to be honest. Now, here we go. Let me ask you guys a question. You ever see videos or live streams where a dude is talking about the messed up shit that women do? Like, it'll be a dude going all the way in on the messed up shit that women do. And somebody will chime in and say, well, there's problems on, men and women need to tighten up, and see, this is what I notice. Whenever you talk about what women do wrong, somebody got to chime in and say men do just as much too. If we're just talking about men, we don't bring up women. And it's the same way with the Democrats and the Republicans. If I was sitting here going in on the Republicans, she wouldn't have brought up the goddamn Democrats. But because I'm in here talking about the Democrats, oh, well, they talk shit on the other side too. Kick her out of my chat room right now, please. And you know what that's called? That's called deflection. That's what that's called. That's what that's called. When you talking about the Democrats, in order to lighten the blow, let's bring up the Republicans. Well, the Republicans do this and the Republicans do that. And I'm sick of you motherfuckers. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. I don't want to hear about what the Republicans do wrong. I don't want to hear about what men do wrong. I don't want to hear about what the conservatives do wrong, because what I notice is every time you call out a Democrat, every time you call out a leftist, every time you call out a woman, we always got to jump past whatever they did wrong and look at what somebody else did. How about we just stay right there on those motherfuckers and see if that solves the problem? How about that? How about when we call out a Democrat for some shit, how about we hold the goddamn Democrat accountable before we start looking at the fucking Republicans? How about we hold the left accountable before we start looking at the right? How about we hold women accountable before we start looking at the men? Because you know what I notice? We're always holding women accountable. We're always holding the right accountable. We're always holding Republicans accountable. You know who we don't hold accountable? The fucking Democrats, leftists, and women. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the manipulation and the gaslighting. The Democrats have ran this damn country into the ground. The leftists have us out here like we're a bunch of damn lunatics. And don't even get me started about the foolishness that women are on today. I don't want to hear that shit anymore. I am a conservative Republican and a dude. If you don't like that shit, stay out of my chat room. Go somewhere else. I'm done. I'm done negotiating. I'm done debating. I'm done trying to freaking understand. I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't. Because I'm tired of watching as the country constantly gets screwed up. Society constantly gets screwed up. I'm tired of seeing broken families. I'm tired of seeing men disrespected. I'm tired of the way of life that we all know to be righteous and normal being demonized and traded in for all of this weird shit we see today. I am sick of it. I am fucking sick and tired of it. I have no more patience for it. No more patience for it. I have no more patience for it. At all. And I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired. I'm tired. Here's some truth for your ass. Here's some truth for your ass, right? This is some truth, right? The truth is, Republicans, for the majority of this country's history, has been the only group of people that did a damn thing for black people. Democrats have done everything in their power to keep black people in a victimhood state of mind because that makes you easier to control. They keep you racially charged up because as long as you're looking at everything through the lens of race, you ain't never gonna get ahead. You ain't never gonna be able to do shit because you're walking around with a damn chip on your shoulder. The reason why they want you to think that the Republicans are racist is because the Republicans have a mentality of get up, get off your ass, and do something for yourself, which is exactly what black people need to hear. The Democrats' mentality is don't get up and do anything. Depend on us. Why? Because that's how you keep a fucking slave. That is the reality. Here's some more truth for your ass. The lefties are a bunch of weirdo, demonic, devil-worshipping heathens. And every fucking agenda they have is in direct opposition with Almighty God and any religion. Y'all are running around here looking for one person as an antichrist. It isn't one person, it's an entire group of people, and they're called the left. Here's some more truth for your ass. The women, the modern women that are running around here today, you're a bunch of Jezebels. And you have been fed a lie by the Democrats and the left that you can do whatever you want and there'll be no consequences for it. And you bought into it because just like a spoiled, rotten, entitled child, you believe that you should be able to do whatever the hell you want without any damn consequences. And the reality is that's not true. And that's part of the reason why your life sucks right now, because these are your consequences. Everything that the left has taught you women to do, that the Democrats have taught you women to do, the way they've gassed you up into believing that Jezebelism is some form of female empowerment, is the reason why your shit ain't right, is the reason why nothing goes the way you want it to go, is the reason why you're always messed up in the game, because the shit they taught you is in direct opposition to God Almighty. What did you think? Did you really think you were going to jump out here like a Jezebel 24/7 in Mo, doing what you want to do, deleting babies like it's going out of style, acting like harlots, and God was just going to be cool with it? That's the truth. So I don't want to hear none of you people coming in here talking about some, well, there's problems on both sides. Well, take your ass over there to the other side. Because as far as I'm concerned, there's only two sides. There's God's side, and then there's the other side. Which side are you on? Because last time I checked, God didn't expect none of his followers to be perfect. So you bringing up what the right are doing, what the God-fearing people are doing, is a waste of my motherfucking time. You can have all the flaws in the world as long as you believe in God and you're not a heathen. I can rock with that. But I ain't trying to hear nothing from the side that thinks deleting babies is a right and a form of birth control. I ain't trying to hear from the side that thinks women should not marry men, should not submit to men. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nothing from the side that has a problem with the family unit. I don't want to hear nothing from the side that wants to give more rights to people that ain't even from here, that came here illegally, than the people who were actually born here. I don't want to hear nothing from that side. I don't want to hear nothing from the side that think God Almighty makes mistakes. You know, like putting you in the wrong body when you're born. I don't want to hear nothing from that side. You can call me what you want to call me. I'm done. I'm done. You go preach that shit to somebody that's willing to listen, because I don't want to hear it. 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 If you coming in here and you feeling like, well, you know, I don't want to, and look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. If I was in here talking some old devilish demonic shit, them numbers would be way higher. them numbers would be way higher. If I was in here talking that old weirdo, new age, goofy shit, them numbers would be higher. And by the way, to all of these new dudes that's just popping up out of the woodwork with relationship advice and shit, you know, you new age wannabe Kevin Samuels niggas. You niggas that jump out here in your suits and shit and you experts and shit. Guess what? I got news for you. You wanna give relationship advice? Here's the thing. If you're not married, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Stop talking about relationship shit. Go back to talking about dating. If you're a grown-ass man up here giving relationship advice and your ass is single, we need you to shut the hell up. We need you to shut up and have several seats. If you don't have the ability to have a successful marriage, you don't have the ability to give successful relationship advice. I don't care who you are. And while we're at it, while we're on the subject, if you don't have any children, stop telling people how to raise children. And guess what? Having nieces and nephews is not the fucking same as your own damn children. So for those of you that jump out here and act like, well, you know, I got nieces and nephews, so I know you don't know shit. Shut the hell up. You don't know a damn thing. Shut up and go sit your goofy ass down somewhere. You goofy. You're goofy. There's a big difference between keeping somebody's kid and having a child of your own. There's a huge, the difference is the size, that gulf is the size of freaking the Grand Canyon. This is what we need to normalize. What we need to normalize is people talking about shit they have experience in. We need to normalize that. We need to normalize that. In other words, if you're giving people advice on how to become a millionaire, you better damn well be a millionaire. If you're giving people advice on how to have a successful marriage, you better have a successful marriage. If you're giving people advice on how to date properly, your ass should know how to date properly. If not, shut the hell up. Period. And here's something else too. Here's something else too for all of you so-called manosphere individuals. Stop fucking stealing my talking points and come up with your own damn shit, you raggedy, plagiarizing pieces of shit. I don't know how many times I gotta say this. You unoriginal clowns. Shout out to John. He said, preach, teach the people. Shout out to King Cato, said, don't stress the numbers, OG. The people who supposed to be here are here. Shout out to Lotus, said, better late than never. Appreciate you. Yeah, but see, yesterday when I was talking about Travis Hunter and his wife, you know, that gossip shit, we had 1,200 people watching. Right? We had 1,200 people watching, right? See, that's what we dealing with. Because the reality is the folks that's out here now ain't grown. Let's just be clear about that. The folks that's out here now, they ain't grown. They ain't grown. They pretending to be grown. Shout out to Mama said, good will win over evil. They are mad because the evil, wicked ways are coming to the light. They're mad because the wicked can't brainwash kids anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm not like, bro, I'm not rocking with none of that weirdo shit. None of it. None of this new age weirdo shit. I'm not rocking with none of it. And I'm not a fool. I sit back and I look at who's leading the charge in what. And you know what I notice? I see Democrats. I see lefties. I see liberals. I see progressives. I see women leading the charge on a bunch of weirdo shit. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say there aren't men that's part of that, but this is what I notice with men. When you have a conversation with men or you see what men are about, it's like a coin toss. Whether they on the side of God or they on the side of some wicked shit. But what I notice with women is more often than not, they on that wicked side. I keep noticing the women that are on the righteous side, they're few and far between. I keep noticing this shit. This is the reason why I said the right and the Republican Party is more of a man type thing, and the left and the Democrat Party is more of a woman type thing. I've been saying this. If the Democrat Party had a gender, it'd be a woman. If the Republican Party had a gender, it would be a man. Shout out to the New Culture Empire said, they never stay for the real. It's them you talking about. Yeah. Yeah, they get shook when I start speaking that raw truth, they get shook. They get shook. They get frightened. Let me get up out of here before I get in trouble. That's what they do. Let me get up out of here before I get in trouble. Let me get up out of here before somebody notices that I'm listening to this. Who you scared of? Who you frightened of? Who you frightened of? Because what I'm saying is real. I don't give a damn who don't like it. What I'm saying is real shit. Real rap, real talk. And I'm so, and look, here's the thing. I'm so fed up with the phoniness. I'm so fed up with the bullshit. I'm so fed up with the debating and the arguing and all of that. I'm so fed. This is the reason why I don't really be going to nobody's channels like that. The other day, I joined Lucky Marie's channel for a second, and guess what happened? Guess what happened? I was treated with respect. I was welcomed warmly. I was welcomed warmly. I was treated with dignity and respect. Hell, I would even argue that on that show I was actually treated with some reverence. There was a moment where Mr. Let Go kept interrupting me, and Lucky Marie cut him off. Like, why do you keep interrupting him? I didn't even have to say anything. And when I saw that, you know what I said to myself? I said, I know why this is happening. So I have to make you niggas miss me. I have to make you niggas miss me. When I come to channels frequently, that's when the disrespect, that's when the foolishness. But when I'm like over here just doing my thing, staying away from everybody, and then I just happen to show up every once in a blue moon, niggas is like, oh, Angryman's here. It's sad. It's sad it's gotta be that way. It's sad it's gotta be that way. And now I'm starting to see more than ever. That's the reason why you treated Kevin the way you did when he showed up. Whenever Kevin showed up on your channels and your panels and stuff, you were just, oh my God, you were super excited. You rolled out the red carpet. Now I know why you treated him like that, because he stayed away from you niggas. He rarely came around. So you valued it more. And it's sad it's got to be that way. And see, the reason why it was so hard for me to do it before, because I've been known that. The reason why it was so hard for me to do it before is because I genuinely wanted to have the conversation. I genuinely wanted to have the back and forth, because I genuinely believed that I could sway people to my opinion. I believed that logic would always prevail. But see, the reason why it's easy for me to stay away now is because I'm sick of you niggas. I'm sick of the debates. I'm sick of the back and forth. I don't need to debate y'all about shit, because at the end of the day, I know what the fuck it is. I know what's wrong. I know what's right. I know what works and what doesn't. And I am no longer going to debate any of you ass ignorant niggas about any of that shit. Not going to do it. I fucking refuse. I am not going to argue with you niggas about nothing. Because at the end of the day, if I didn't know what the hell I was talking about, I wouldn't get the fucking results that I get. I wouldn't get the results that I get. You're probably like, what results is that? The results that you want. The results that you want. That's what results. The results you want. Shout out to Olin Jr. Appreciate you.
$50 boss up. Hey! Stack up and match up.
Because I thought about it. I said, you know what? I said, why would I have to waste my time going to other channels arguing with people when I can just fire up a stream right here in the BINO Nation and have a conversation with the BINO Nation, one of the greatest audiences in YouTube, and we can chop it up about some real shit and not have to deal with none of that ignorance that goes on in these other channels, none of that foolishness that goes on in these chat rooms and shit. Because at the end of the day, here in the BINO Nation, we are civilized. We do not act like a bunch of ignorant apes slinging feces at each other and beating our chest to try to prove our dominance. We don't operate like that over here. We are actually civilized, intelligent, with common sense. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. Now, while there are plenty of content creators that I'm cool with and that I would love nothing more than to kick it with them on their channels, I can't do it because they got niggas that sit on their panels that I don't respect. There's niggas that sit on their panel that's dumber than the dirt outside in my front yard. And the moment I join that panel, even though me and the host is cool, there's some ass ignorant nigga up there that thinks it's his moment to shine. So he wants to try to talk crazy to me. And I don't got time for it, man. I was sitting there the other day looking at my channel. I was like, damn, yo, I got 806,000 subscribers. I jumped in there and looked at my analytics because I made some changes to the channel. I say, you know what? I know playing music at the beginning of the show is hurting me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the music and I'm going to just get the show started early, get the engagement going early. I'm going to do that for a while. I've been doing that for a couple weeks now. And then I'm going to see if there's any improvement. So then I go in and look, and what do you know? What do you know? Improvement. Like I'm not gonna allow the ignorance that goes on here on YouTube to get on my nerves. I'm not gonna freaking do it. I'm done with it. Shout out to A, said, you once said that most of the audience in the space suffered from arrested development and red pill raging. I thought you were wrong, but honestly, you were right. My bad, OG. These dudes aren't grown men. I told you, bro. If you pay attention to it, you'll see it. It don't take much to see it. It don't take much to see it. Shout out to Martin, said the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told the minister, I didn't make you to be debated with. They either take the truth as you speak it or leave it alone. Facts. Facts. That is facts. That's facts. And look, and I got something else to tell you too. When it comes to the shit that I say, the people that actually listen to me and take heed to what I'm saying, the same way my actions get me the results that I want, when I give people advice and they actually follow it, guess what happens? They get the results that they want. Shout out to Polar Skeleton, said, God bless America. Indeed. And look, some people gonna say, damn, man, Angryman really feeling himself. You right. You right. You right. It took me a while. Shout out to Charles. He said supporting the shoe. Shout out to Samuel. He said the conservative cookout. Appreciate you. It took me a while. It took me a while. It took me a while, but I came to a realization. I had an epiphany. I realized that I accomplished the one thing that I thought I would never accomplish. I surpassed everyone that I know. Like, you know how when you're growing up, you know, if you were the black sheep in the family, right? Let's say for argument's sake that, you know, you didn't have the stereotypical background, or you know, you didn't grow up with both parents. You were raised by your grandparent or some shit like that, or one parent, and you grew up with a very modest upbringing. You didn't have a lot. So because you didn't start out life with the typical family, with you got both your parents, and because you didn't have a lot, everyone's estimation of you was low. In other words, everyone not only thought that you would never succeed in anything, it was almost like they were counting on it. And the only reason you know this is because of the things that people have said to you over the years, right? And so you kind of grow up, I don't want to say with a chip on your shoulder. You kind of grow up with a weight on you. And the weight that's on you is the opinions and expectations, or lack of expectations, of all of the people around you. Because it's heavy. You can walk around and pretend like you don't know that it's there, or you can pretend like it doesn't bother you. And the truth of the matter, it does. It does. What people that you grow up around, family members, what they think of you, it plays a role in your development. It plays a role in your upbringing, and who you are as a person, whether you like it or not, right? And I don't know who. I can't say specific people because you can never know another person's heart, right? So I don't know who specifically looked at me in a negative light. I just know that there were some that did, right? They look at you like you're probably going to end up in prison, or you're never going to amount to anything, or you're never going to, like, I've had teachers tell me that when I was growing up. I've had teachers tell me that I wasn't going to amount to nothing. I've had teachers tell me that flat out to my face. You feel me? I've had family members that I hadn't seen in a while see me and say, damn, I thought they would have locked you under the jail by now. There were a lot of people that just were not counting on me succeeding. So if you're like me, you come up with this desire, this burning passion inside of you. You say to yourself, I'll show them. I'll prove them wrong. And at first, that is the motivating factor. At first, that's what motivates you, right? When you're young, when you're in your teens, that's what motivates you, because at that point, that's all that really matters. Then you become a young adult and you go out into the world and you realize the world is harsh. unforgiving, turbulent, fraught with all sorts of calamities and danger and bullshit. So then your motivations become different. Now keep in mind the desire to show everybody and prove them wrong, that doesn't go anywhere. It's still there. It just lingers in the back of your mind while you're navigating bills and raising your children and relationship problems and all of that shit. And keep in mind the turmoil that you go through as a young adult. It only adds to that fucked up opinion that those people already have about you, because when you're struggling as a young man, they look at you and it's almost like confirmation of what they believed about you. They're like, yeah, see, he's going through exactly what I thought he would go through. It reinforces that thought lingering in the back of your head. That's okay. I'll show you. You'll see. And you keep moving and your motivations just get compounded. So you started out motivated by the desire to prove everyone wrong about you. Then you get motivated by the desire just to live better, just to not have as many problems. So you get motivated by that too. And you get older and you continue to go through more shit. You still fight. You still push. But it always feels like one step forward, two steps back. It always feels like you're never going to catch a break. It always feels like it's right there. It's like, it looks like it's right within your grasp, but you just can't grab it. And then one day, you stop giving a fuck. Stop giving a fuck about proving everybody wrong. You stop giving a fuck about whether you're going to accomplish shit or not. And then it happens. And then it happens. Then it happens. Then it happens. Then the tide changes. And you start to see progress. And at first, the people that you wanted to prove wrong so desperately, they don't acknowledge it at first. Even though at this point you don't even really care, but you still notice it. They look at you different. Before, they were happy to speak to you because they couldn't wait to hear how fucked up shit was going for you. Now they don't ask you how you doing. Now they don't ask you what you've been up to. Because they're afraid that if you answer, it's going to be something that they wish they were doing. So they don't say nothing. They pretend like they don't see it. And then it becomes so painfully evident. Kind of like when you're out all night and you're not paying attention to the time and the sky starts lighting up. And at first you think you're tripping. You're like, there's no way the sun is about to come up. But not long after that, that sunrise starts peaking, and it's undeniable because the sun just makes it too damn bright for you to deny it. And there's no choice now. You just got to accept it. I've witnessed what that feeling is like. And it's weird because it's not the way I thought it would feel. I'm going to tell you exactly what it feels like. You tricked yourself into believing that you no longer cared about proving people wrong. But the reality is you still wanted to prove them wrong. You still wanted to show them. But really what you realize is that's not really what you were seeking. You didn't want to prove them wrong. You weren't trying to show them. You just wanted them to believe in you. They counted you out so early in life that you don't even realize it hurt you. So when you said you're going to show them or you're going to prove them wrong, it's just coming from a place of hurt. Because the people you grew up with, the people you're friends with, the people you love, the people you care about, the people that are your family, it means something when they believe in you. And it hurts like hell when they don't. So when it happens, you feel the acknowledgement. And all of a sudden, it's like a tremendous weight has been lifted off of you. You feel lighter. You feel like the best example, there's a movie that's one of my favorite movies. It's by Guy Ritchie. It's called The Rock and Roller. It's about a young dude that's got a stepfather that's like a gangster, but the stepfather was extremely abusive to him and shit. And spoiler alert, at the end of the movie, the stepfather gets dealt with. And at the end of the movie, one of the dudes said, it's like it breathed, it's like a new season was awakened in the young boy because that burden was no longer there. That's what it feels like. It feels like a new season. It feels like a fresh start. And the only way I can describe it, it's like the only people's opinions that really mattered to you was the ones that mattered. And once those opinions become what you wanted them to become, it's only then that they don't matter. It's only at that moment that it no longer matters. And once it no longer matters, the opinions of the people who you deemed should matter, then nobody's opinion matters. So once the people whose opinions matter to you no longer matter to you, nobody's opinions matter. And it's because of that, I don't have any desire to go to your panels. I don't have any desire to debate with you, to try to prove you wrong or try to prove I'm right. I don't give a fuck anymore. I genuinely don't care anymore. I don't care. Like, I don't care. I'm almost at 1 million subs. I live a better life than the average American, especially the average black person. I get to do what I want. I get to enjoy what I want. And I don't feel the need to waste time debating niggas that quite frankly haven't accomplished what I've accomplished. I don't. I don't. I don't. Like I've accomplished something that I didn't even think was possible. I've accomplished something that a lot of you will never accomplish. Those of you that love to hate on me and talk shit about me. I went to my family reunion and I was treated like a celebrity. That was a weird feeling. I ain't gonna lie. It was a weird feeling. And don't get it twisted. I love my family to death. That shit was not on my bingo card. You couldn't have, if you would have went back 20 years ago and told me that shit would have happened, I'd have looked you straight in your face and said, you're a fucking liar. There's no way. Because I know for a fact I was one of the black sheep. I was one of the black sheep. That's for certain. That's for certain. And there are certain people in my family that I have a lot of respect for, that I view up here. You know what I'm saying? And to get the acknowledgement from them, you know, the head nod, the keep doing your thing. In a lot of ways, that shit is more important than me. That shit was more important to me than buying a Corvette. That shit was more important to me than getting a YouTube plaque. That shit was more important to me than making a certain amount of money. It just was. It just was. And it's just like that Corvette. Like, Me buying that Corvette was something that I had been wanting to do for so long, but once I did it, it's like, okay, cool. That doesn't matter anymore. That doesn't matter anymore. And it's crazy because that's how it works for me. I can't speak for everybody else, but that's how it works for me when it comes to accomplishments. Once I accomplish it, it's like, okay, I did that. What's next? Like, what's next? Like, shout out to Polar Skellington. Said, I respect you 100. Your wisdom is biblical. Appreciate you, bro. And see, look, as I'm saying this, you see the numbers going down, right? Because there's so many people, and I get it. There's so many people that can't relate to what I'm saying. There's people that can't relate to what I'm saying. I get it. I get it. Jerome said, yo, AM, the gem of today is when you said people need to stop talking about what they haven't experienced, what they don't have experience in. You need to make a short on that. Appreciate you, bro. I'll definitely do that. Yeah, there's some people that, C-Train said, I absolutely can. I appreciate that. But I appreciate everybody that can understand where I'm coming from, because it's not easy to articulate. It's really not easy to articulate. Like, y'all have heard me speak so many times about how on my rise, like, I've went around family members and they pretended like, they kind of pretend like they don't see you building, they don't see you, you know what I'm saying? So when I went recently, I was expecting that. That's what I was expecting. I was expecting shade. So it's weird. You feel me? It's really weird. It's really weird. But I can say this for certain. That experience, if you were the black sheep in your family, is definitely a key part of your development, because it makes you reevaluate what you prioritize. It makes you start to view things from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because once you experience it, it's like, so damn, I've been waiting my whole life to feel this feeling. I've been waiting my whole life for this acknowledgement. And once you get it, it's like, it's anticlimactic. It's like, I would imagine it's like wanting to go to Disney World your whole life, and then when you finally go, you just look around like, okay, this is what I was waiting my entire life for. And then you think to yourself like, okay, moving forward, what else am I gonna be viewing like this? You feel me? So it like, there are other things that I want to do, but I don't think I'm gonna be stressing over them after experiencing that. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like it gives you more patience, because it's like, I want to do that, but I'm not in no rush. It'll happen when it happens. It'll happen in due time. I'm not I'm not. Like, for instance, once I experienced that, bro, once I experienced that, me getting 1 million subs, it's like, okay, I'll get them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna freaking stress over it or break my neck to try to do it. It'll happen when it happens. You feel me? Shout out to IMP. He says, salute to the light skinned God. Appreciate you, bro. Like, it's just a weird feeling. It's just a weird feeling. I even had a conversation with my wife about it. I told her, I said, I feel lighter. I feel lighter. Like I feel like I've been unburdened of burdens of the past. Like the you know how you could be growing up and you kind of have like, even if the people you grew up under, even if they don't have any expectations of you, you still have those expectations of yourself. And you not living up to those expectations that you've put on yourself, it's a burden to you. Like, if you're a normal, well-rounded person that thinks normally, you want people to be proud of you. You know, you want your mother, your father, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, you want people to be proud of you. That's just a reality. That's just a reality. But the desire of wanting people to be proud of you becomes a burden. You feel me? It becomes a burden, especially when you look around and it seems like you're not going to accomplish it. It becomes a burden that you're praying doesn't turn into a regret. You feel me? And when you finally get the recognition that people are proud of you, you realize that you needed it, but it wasn't as important as you thought it was. It's not. It's not as like, and I'm merely saying this to all of you guys. For those of you that experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. And for those of you that haven't experienced it, I'm saying this to let you know that the only person's opinion that matters about you is you. That's it. The only thing that really matters at the end of the day is what you think when you look in the mirror. When you get up in the morning and you look yourself in the mirror, what do you think about yourself? That's really the only thing that matters. Because you can spend a lifetime allowing your perception of yourself to be cultivated by other people. And what happens when you do that is it becomes a tremendous burden on your spirit, on your soul, on your being. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, the day after I got that recognition, it felt like I had been walking around. It felt like I was Atlas, and I had been walking around with the earth on my back. And the next day, I just didn't have it anymore. I set it down. Like I set it down, and it just feels different. It just feels tremendously different. It's really hard to describe. Like, I try to use analogies. I think using a good analogy is the best way to get somebody to comprehend what you're saying, but it is really hard to describe. is really hard to describe. But anyway, I've been on here long enough, jaw jacking, running my mouth. I want to give you guys another stream later on today. I'm not sure if I will. It depends on what's going on in the news cycle. I'm going to look and see what else is going on. I might give you guys another stream this evening or late night. I'm not 100% certain. But regardless, I appreciate all of you that came through and hung out with me, kicked it with me. I appreciate y'all for listening to me ramble on about my personal journey, and some of the epiphanies I had in reference to that, because it might actually help you with your journey. You feel what I'm saying? Anytime I start feeling or thinking about certain things like that, I don't mind sharing it with you guys, because it's who I am. You feel me? And like I said, with YouTube, the best way to be with YouTube is, like I said, number one is to be authentic, and number two is to share your world. And that's me sharing my world with you guys. But with that being said, man, shout out to everybody that came through. Appreciate y'all. Shout out to Kenyatta and Burnell. Appreciate y'all for being sponsors of the show. If you're watching this on the replay, you can still support the show by going to Cash App, $ Fuel the Anger, or Cash App, $ The Angryman. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you click the bell so you'll be notified whenever I go live. We're trying to get those numbers up. There are a lot of you that are subscribed, but you have not clicked the bell. I need y'all to click the bell and click all notifications and turn on your notifications on the YouTube app on your phone. Also, make sure you go through and check out my book, The Angryman Standard, which is available on Amazon. All you have to do is type The Angryman Standard in the search bar and it will come up. The Angryman Standard, Traditional Relationship Solutions for the Modern Man. You feel me? And if you want to check out the merchandise, like this BINO shirt that I got on right here, all you got to do is go to shopBINONation.com. Again, that's shopBINONation.com. We have these shirts in all colors. Let's see. We got these shirts in numerous colors. We got it in black like I'm wearing. We got Carolina blue. We got Kelly green. Excuse me, that's Irish green. We got military green, orange, purple, red, royal blue, and sky blue. You feel me? We got them from small all the way up to 5X. So definitely go over to shopBINONation.com and check out the merchandise. And by the way, salute to everybody that's been buying the merchandise lately. You guys have really been copping the shirts lately. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys are enjoying the quality of the shirts and all of that good stuff. But with that being said, I'm about to get up out of here. Salute to the whole BINO Nation. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Deuces.
Spartans! What is your profession?